The Fed is stoking another real estate bubble that will wipe out home equity. Okay, I'll bite, especially since it's Peter Boockvar that is saying this. Let's dig in. What's up, Resource community? I'm repping my Boise State gear this week because I just dropped off my son there, and quite frankly, I miss him, and I know he watches the show, so here you go, bud. Miss ya. Come home soon. Back to business, though. Let's start with Peter's thoughts from last week.
If the market does correct, how much wealth do you think could be wiped out?
Well, I feel bad for the people that bought homes over the past year because they're the ones that paid the very elevated prices. So for someone who put 5% down, and you see home prices pull back, let's just say 10% for those, relative to a year ago, well, their equity is basically wiped out. For those that have owned for a while, that have built up equity, they'll be much more insulated. So I'm not expecting, certainly not at all, a repeat of the mid-2000s where so many people were buying homes just out of pure speculation in order to flip them, and the banks were so over-levered. This is just an unfortunate situation of people just paying so much for a home relative to their incomes, relative to where prices were pre-COVID.
Now, there's a lot of truth to what Peter's saying here, but we're not sure we 100% agree with a bubble scenario. He goes on to state, by maintaining unprecedented quantitative easing measures through the economic recovery, the central bank created a spike in housing demand that has been overwhelming supply. The result is obviously skyrocketing prices. Again, true. I think that is accurate. We've talked about QE several times on the show. No one can really disagree with that statement. So let's move on. He also states,
so when the Fed cuts rates to zero, when they're buying mortgage-backed securities and treasuries to further suppress interest rates, it has a direct flow through into the housing market because it's meant to stimulate demand. The problem is it stimulated so much demand that the supply side couldn't keep up, whether it was builders that couldn't get materials or couldn't find labor or couldn't find enough lots. So the combination are these very aggressive annualized price increases where the S&P CoreLogic number, the last reading, we showed 17% year-over-year increases in home prices.
Again, guys, true. We've talked about the supply and demand issue, and we've also talked about the housing affordability issue on the show several times. So again, nothing really to disagree with there, in my opinion. Now, Peter is infinitely smarter than I'll ever be, and he did start his talk with this opener.
Well, first I want to specify it's a housing price bubble with different characteristics than we saw in the mid-2000s. So this is really a price thing rather than a reckless leverage situation or reckless borrowing.
See, this is different than the factors that caused the Great Recession, and I don't believe 2021 will be the bubble of 2006. I do believe it will be a taper, though. He's right. The home value increases that are represented here are not sustainable. But a 10% rapid decline, I don't know, it's possible. I just see a slowdown rather than a cliff in prices. We're already seeing the bidding wars drop. 74% of offers were in a bidding war in March 2021, and that's already down to 60%. I suspect that trend will continue. What does that all mean? Well, good news, we aren't going to see the crazy bidding up of homes anymore moving forward. What does that not mean? It doesn't mean prices will decline 10%, just taper. Peter closes with this.
Well, unfortunately, we're still going to see these double-digit home price increases. But at the same time, as I mentioned before, we're beginning to see a slowdown in the pace of transactions because, yes, there's still a dearth of inventory, but buyers are pulling back. Buyers are calling a timeout. They said, I can't afford this, or I want to wait to see home prices cool down. So it is the high prices that are actually slowing down the overall industry.
Guys, this is a really interesting topic that affects pretty much everybody in America. Share it on social with your thoughts as well. Let us know if you think Peter is on point or if you believe it will be a slow taper in the comment section below. Peter is a friend of our friend Barry Habib. We respect everything he says, and again, he's very, very, very smart. It's very likely he's seeing this right. I don't know. You guys tell us. We'll see you guys next week.